2 years. And lease-leasebacks are new to me in the last few months. The way we're doing business now is more and more around those. So in my conversation with a number of other school districts and a few attorneys, because this, I also mentioned on March 11th, is happening throughout the state. It's not unique to Mount Auburn Unified. It's a way of doing business now. The problem I had with it in talking to other districts, and I continue to have with it, and I am more of a mind of Mr. Parker's concern, is that the lease-leaseback actually can subvert the bidding process. And the way it can become, and this is what some of the attorneys and districts were concerned about, is the way it becomes is an invitation to bidders. Rather than a school district, which of course, as you all know, we live off government funds, and when we're living off public funds, we have to spend them wisely. We have to open up those projects to outside bids. We have to be very prudent and look at all those bids and make the best selection. The concerns in lease-leaseback that I keep encountering are the fact that bidders are invited into the process rather than just open it up and say, we have chemistry classrooms that we're putting into schools. It becomes, we're going to go out and invite some construction companies to bid on this project. The concern and anxiety that's happening throughout the state around these, when I talk to other districts, is that that becomes a kind of an exclusive process where some companies are invited in. And I've heard even more insidious conversation about what some of the things are potentially happening with lease-leasebacks, such as, and I'm not saying Mount Auburn was doing this, but such as the fact that some districts, one district I spoke with, experienced a situation where several bidders were invited into the process, and then they discovered that there was almost a bid rigging going on. And the way it occurred was 3 construction companies were bidding on a project, and they had made a kind of tacit agreement among them that this project, I will come out as the low bidder. Now next month, the school district's going to be doing another project, say with doors, and you come forward and that's going to be your project. So we're going to take turns, even though we're competitors, we're going to take turns at who gets the bid. And the concern was that becomes a bid rigging, and the concern is that we are not actually going out and seeking the best bid. And so the question I asked on March 11th, which is much of what Mr. Parker asked, we had one company which was double the bid price on a window project at College Park, and double the bid price. I think one was $367,000 or something, the other one was $837,000. And I asked on March 11th, why is it that this company, which we approved in December for a project, which was Tabor, why is it Tabor's the low bid in December, and then now is over twice the price to do windows? And really, there isn't an answer. I didn't get an answer on March 11th over why Tabor came in twice as high when in December they were the low bid. So the insidious part of what I heard was how lease-leasebacks can become kind of an inside bidding and a non-competitive bidding. So I have an extreme amount of concern over moving into lease-leasebacks. I don't see the value in these so much as I see the risk. And I did mention also on March 11th, and I've mentioned before that there are now districts who are making the newspaper for some of these lease-leasebacks. And there is an attorney moving throughout the state suing districts over lease-leasebacks because of the concern that we are not doing due diligence with competitive bidding, and we are simply kind of getting pre-selected by companies. And my understanding as well on lease-leaseback was that it was meant to be for very unique projects, not just general run-of-the-mill things where maybe 10 companies could do window replacement at a school. That wouldn't be a unique project, something, and I can't think of one right off the bat, something that's so extraordinarily unique that there aren't any competitive bids out there for those companies because only 1 or 2 companies could do it. And at that point, you want to go in and invite them into the process because you're not going to get 10 bids. So I have those concerns. I don't feel those questions have been answered, and I do feel there's a high level of stress and scrutiny occurring in school districts now over lease-leasebacks. So myself, I'm not going to continue supporting them until I really understand that we are not closing down the bidding process and being too exclusive in what we accept. And that was Mr. Parker's concern, which he expressed on March 11th and again tonight. And I don't feel reassured yet, and perhaps I'm the only board member that feels that way, I don't know, but I have investigated it and come back with more questions than answers around the process. Any other board members?
I have a couple of questions. I was wondering if Dr. Lawrence or staff can advise the Board of Education how Mount Diablo School District invites bidders to submit proposals. How can a bidder request to be added to the Mount Diablo School District's list? And has Mount Diablo School District received any complaints regarding our process to this date?
I'd like to invite Mr. Cody to come up, but also Mr. Cody did bring legal counsel this evening to answer questions. Since this came up in the last board meeting, we thought it'd be prudent to have the legal counsel that we've been working with on our lease-leaseback proposals come this evening to answer questions. Mr. Cody.
I'll answer some of the technical questions on the things that we do. How we invite, we normally have contractors that we've been very successful with in the past. Those were the contractors that we usually start with. Usually I try to incorporate one or two unknown entities that I've never worked with into the process prior to sending out the RFQs. So we want to invite, I don't think we're arbitrarily saying nobody can provide their qualifications during the process. For the window project that we talked about on the 11th, we invited much more than those that we received. We're changing the process a little bit to give the board a little bit more information when we come to show you exactly who we contacted. And I think you'll start seeing a larger list on who we've contacted. Now, answering the question on why Tabor was high on that one, again, I think that the main reason they were high on that particular contract is windows are more of a specialty contract, and the low bidder happened to be a company that specializes in windows. The second proposal was a general contractor, and Tabor was a third. Exactly why Tabor was higher than that, I wouldn't say, but answering the one question on, for lack of a better, collusion, I think that if we were aware of any of that, that's obviously illegal. Within our contract, all the contractors signed a non-collusion affidavit. So, obviously, if we were aware of that.
But in the last 2 months in talking to school districts, and actually right now there are claims against districts for that very reason. And whether it happens inadvertently or on purpose, but that is what, it kind of begs the question of excluding some bidders, and that's why it's, I think, come under scrutiny as far as I can ascertain.
And I think we're trying to invite as many bidders as would be interested in doing so. So, we also like superintendent. No, we have not told anyone they could not submit a qualification package.
And we post those online, correct?
Correct.
So people that are aware, look into our bid room and pull down the documents and respond to it, whether or not they received a formal invitation or not.
Correct. We're going to move and we're going to try to double up some of the areas that we're also, for lack of a better word, we're not advertising, but providing that information out there in a broader manner. The biggest thing that comes into play is the qualifications.
Why did S&H remove themselves from the process?
The letter that we got from S&H is that they had a clerical error in the proposal that they submitted. I'll be honest, I think that there was some concern with their bonding agent that this is a very aggressive schedule that we have in this. Most of our projects tend to be aggressive. We're trying to accommodate the sites and the students get in there at a certain time, so our schedules become very aggressive. And then when you add in a liquidated damage clause, it weeds out some of the more faint-hearted.
And why did the other three not bid?
One of them is telling me that there's an uptick in the market and they have enough business that they weren't interested in doing some things that were just a little bit outside their comfort zone. The one I did not get a response from, and the other company is in the process of taking the opposite direction. They don't have any business.
from your standpoint, when we get only one bid, how big a cause for concern